Okay, let's try some intermediate to advanced playing techniques. We'll try to focus on chirps, high octave notes, cross fingering, and other tongue and throat techniques that you can use. All right, let's see what we got here. So here's the 5-note pentatonic minor scale that you may already be familiar with. And let's go and start cross fingering. Now we're adding that ring finger. Once we are comfortable with that 5-note minor scale, and other videos I've said at first just hold that ring finger down. You can use that, but you have to cross finger it by putting your pointer finger below it on and lifting that one up. And then when you proceed to play up the scale, put that back on and go up like this. Some people try to just play with their pointer finger down and get different melodies than they would if they used with the ring finger down. It's not tuned that way, but you can get away with playing. Some of the notes may sound a little sharp if you play that way, but here's an example. Some people call this Southern Native American playing. So here we go. So there's that. And you can also achieve a full major scale when using that cross fingering and high octave notes. So just watch. Starting with bottom hole lifted, that'll be your do note. That gives you a lot of options. There's other notes that I haven't used yet. This is a note. That's all fingers covered except the top note. That's a high octave note as well. But anyway, there's a lot you can do by using the high octave notes. Notice that the high do, a lot of times, is a roll off of the high do. It's not your finger all the way lifted. It depends on the flute, of course, and the size of the finger holes. I roll it off. So it's sort of a half hole, but that's all up to the ear to determine how much you're rolling that off to get that proper note. So again, that's a little bit advanced. So practice with that, using the high octave notes and the cross fingering. And also let's do chirps. A lot of people like the chirps. Even when I'm doing the beginner, you'll see my fingers on the top lift up a little bit. It's just a habit. So do you see how I did that really fast? I'm just lifting that. You can do it with one finger. You can do it with 2 fingers, the top. And while you're playing the notes, oftentimes if you do that on the bottom note, all fingers covered, and you chirp like that, it might pop the flute to the high octave. So you might learn really quickly that you can't do that on the bottom note on most flutes. Some you can. But let's practice with the chirp. And it's very fast. At first, when people try the chirp, they are a little slow motion and it doesn't quite sound the same. So I'll show you what that sounds like. But when you get that real fast, it's a real quick chirp. It creates an interesting sound. It sounds really good. It sounds really good with rhythm. That's a great option to use. Another thing, I've done this on a couple of my CDs with drone flutes. So I've already mentioned that you use the T sound a lot. I use the T sound a lot when I'm playing the top notes on a flute. Well, certain melodies, when I have a lot of rhythm going, I'll do the T and K sound. Tuka, 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 tuka. So I can do that while I'm playing. So that's another cool thing that you can do. Let's see. This is one I don't do too often, but I've seen people do it. They like it, especially if you're just beginning and these faster rhythms aren't too easy for you to pick up. Just try taking your tongue and doing like a flutter with it. Try that while you're playing the flute. That creates a unique sound. It's not something, like I said, I do too often, but I've heard people have a lot of fun with that. So. Of course, depending on the flute, be careful that that doesn't cause you to overblow. That's why you didn't hear me doing it on the low note, just to be safe. So I guess that should be it. That gives you a few pointers. High-keyed flutes are really great for chirps. Say A minor, B minor, C minor, high C. Great for chirps and things like that. High octave notes. Hardwoods are really good for a lot of flutes. This is considered a hardwood, but it's pretty soft, but as you can see, any flute can produce the chirps and the sounds and all that stuff. So I'll just do a little bit more playing and combine all those things that I said. All right. Hope that helps. Thanks.